So let me ask the question then. In light of all that we've been learning about Jesus, his life, his birth, his death, his resurrection, and in all that we've been learning of what the Bible teaches us about the resurrection and our own hope for eternity, what should our attitude be towards issues of life and death? But if we can face our own life and death with a sense of assurance, and we can face the issues of losing a loved one who knows Jesus with assurance, there is no doubt a pain when it comes to losing someone or someone passing away who's never, as far as we've known, come to a place where they've invited Jesus into their life. Paul, at the beginning of Romans chapter 9, expresses an immense sorrow over his fellow Israelites who are dying without Jesus. There's a real genuine sense of pain because, unlike believers, the Bible makes clear that if we die in our sins without Jesus, then we will be judged for that, and we will spend eternity in hell. The Bible is quite clear about that, and often as Christians we want to dodge some of those hard issues. We can never be certain of whether in someone's dying moments they've encountered Jesus, they've given their life to Jesus. We never know what's happened in the past, and we should never ever underestimate God's grace towards people. It's really important that we never judge, and when we're supporting someone who's lost someone who doesn't know Jesus, we need to do that sensitively and with grace, and with that sense of just, we never know what God will have done. However, whilst things are within our control, God searches people's hearts, and we should be having that sense of a passion that we want to save people from an eternity of taking the penalty for their sins themselves. Jesus has died to take that penalty, but gives us the choice. Do we want to let him take it for us, or do we want to take it for ourselves? And that should motivate us to say, I never want anyone to experience that sense of a separation from God. When we look at the issues of life and death, they should motivate us to say, I don't want anyone to die without Jesus. So as we think about the hope that we have in Jesus and the incredible sense of what Jesus has achieved for us through the cross, through his death and resurrection, through his ascension to heaven, we can approach issues of life and death with a sense of joy for those of us who know Jesus, but a sense of challenge for those who don't. In 1 Thessalonians, Paul's writing to this church which is struggling with losing loved ones before Jesus has returned. And he writes to them and says, I don't want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. There is certainly a sense of hope for those of us who know Jesus. Death is something which we can face with confidence and have hope. But also, we need to remember that there's a challenge within there to pray for sickness. To die is not a defeat. For a Christian, to die through sickness and illness is not a defeat. It is actually a sense of going into the eternal future that God has for us. But we should always take the opportunity. Jesus is a healer and he longs to heal. And healing is one of the ways that he demonstrates his power to a hurting world. We should be praying for the sick and praying that they are healed. That's one of the things that's on the heart of God. But alongside that, we should have a passion to share this good news that Jesus' death was for people to save them from hell, to save them from an eternity separated from God, and to invite them into the kingdom, invite them into the new heaven and new earth where they can have purpose and life in all its fullness. As we face the issues of life and death as Christians, it should motivate us to action. Motivate us to want to share our faith with others and to put our faith into action, to pray for the sick, to see the sick healed, and to preach the gospel in a way that people who don't know Jesus can come to faith in him. That's the challenge as we look at issues of life and death.